Sup, everyone? We're back with Great Ace Attorney 2, Episode 2, The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road.
Again?
As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved.
Oh, resolved, okay.
But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night.
A second incident the same night as
I dare say
Case
most
4 of
can
last
still
game?
recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Whoa. Okay, so this is a case taking place the same day as Case 4 of last game. I mean, it even has Kokoro in it. Okay, my name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Ah, here it is. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. Well, 2, to be exact. 2 whole people. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Sounded more like a pig than a tummy rumbling. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. Must be nearly time for breakfast. I'd better go down to Mr. Sholm's suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Flatmate. That is a term I have not heard before. August 30th, 7:28 a.m. Sholmes' suite. Runo, good. It's good to see you again, Iris. Been too long. Though it's actually not been long at all, considering I started this game right after the first one. So in reality, it's only been, what, like a week? Yeah, about a week. A little bit more than a week, I should say, because it was 6 episodes, and then there was the bonus of the last series. Anyways. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. Hi, Sholmes. Good to see you as well. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation, repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it. Personal space, buddy. Social distancing and all that? No? I mean, I guess this is a way different time than nowadays, but still, buddy, you're a bit, you're just a bit too close. Can you back it up? The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Oh boy, time for deduction. We're starting right off the bat with this? Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. He literally just said that, though. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button on your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having... I accidentally pressed forward, but there's actually... Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you. Helly pulled your button off? Yeah, he's also pressing my buttons at this very moment, but that's neither here nor there. Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? Supper. As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder, then, that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deductions were unerring. But Hurley, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. The freaking comedy that Sholmes emits. Like, he seriously just emits a comedic aura. It follows him. I mean, it also has to do with the fact that he's completely oblivious half the time. Also, I just realized, is there freaking, like, a bullet pattern in the wall? Like, right next to the top of Sholmes' head on the right? What is that, VR? Last time I checked, this game wasn't in VR, but hey. Well, that really is a surprise. Also, it actually was VR. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. And I live with him. Oh, joy. Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold. I mean, we could just put it in the fire if it gets too cold, just saying. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes is published in Rance Magazine. Thank you for the exposition, Ryunosuke. We very much needed it. It's not like we played the previous game. No, I'm just kidding. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan. Oh, from Susie, you mean, was it? Really? That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun! Let us have breakfast by conversing. But you know what we're gonna do first? Multiple things, actually. First off, let's get this out of the way. An armband I inherited from Kazuma. It identifies the wearer as a defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. You know, we examined this in the previous game, but I'm wondering if maybe because we're in a different game, we'll get some new stuff. Ooh, is this Japanese kanji script embroidered here? That's right, the name of the armband's owner. Ah, so that's how you write Naruhodo, is it? Actually, no. It's my best friend's name, not mine. It's pronounced Kazuma Asogi. I actually believe this armband in some way embodies his spirit, you see. So you have to write all those lines just for one person's name? Kanji is funny, isn't it? That it is. Boy, would I know it. That's right. Never mind my feelings about my best friend. It's the lines I really wanted to talk about. Don't mind me, just talking about my dead friend. No need to pay me any mind. Oh, so you have scale balances in Japan too, do you? Well, yes, but nothing like the Old Bailey's huge example. The thing about those scales is they're only ever in balance right at the start of a trial, aren't they? Otherwise, they always seem to be hanging one way or another. One way or another. I noticed that exact same thing. And that's all we got for that. You know, we could converse, but what if we just spend, like, the majority of this episode just frickin' looking at every little thing here, huh? That sounds like a good idea. Let's start with this. Oh, wait, I can't. Never mind. I guess that thing was always there and I just never noticed. Books, papers, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. I have never heard the phrase gunnels in my life, but now I have, I guess. Mrs. Sato wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess. Stand a mess or stand mess? I don't know if stand mess is proper grammar, Ryunosuke. Step up your game, man. Susie might not be able to stand mess, but she wouldn't dare touch those shelves. Maybe that is proper grammar if they said it twice in a row. I doubt that they would make that mistake if they said it twice. Oh? Why not? Everything's in intricate balance. Hurley spends ages on it. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole lot would come tumbling down. Tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. It all returns to nothing. Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement right from the outset. Make it sound like a meeting of great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. Not wrong. Let's examine the, what is it, Stradivarius? Stradivarius? Ah, yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous? Yes, it's a Stradivarius. I was right. I mean, it's pretty easy to remember if it's similar to my own last name, so yeah. Though I'm afraid you have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Runo. But didn't you buy it for your son, Mr. Sholmes? I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label. What? The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Herlock Sholmes, bargain hunter. Can't wait to see you on Pawn Stars, my man. But is it really a Stradivarius, then? But of course, my dear fellow. It said so on the label. I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for sewing. I mean, you just said that one of the strings on it broke yesterday, so who knows? Who knows how much truth there is? The machine really is imposing, isn't it? But I can never remember its name. Henley calls it his great analytoscope. It can analyze anything at all. It doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean? Good question. I don't know, maybe you pull some, like, Full Metal Alchemist and you just, like, look at the contents of it. This is made of 50% pee and 50% poo. I don't know. An extremely astute question, Miss Naruhodo. You can tell how intelligent I am by the examples I use. Sorry? Well, as Iris says, my machine here spits out analysis results. Analysis results of anything with which you care to present it. Flip. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess I have no idea. God. I feel like half the reason I laugh at some of this stuff, half of it is the dialogue itself, like it's just funny, but half of it is the way that I myself voice it. Like like, just Sholmes being like, yeah, I've got no idea what this shit is, but I'm gonna boast about it anyways. I'm glad we're back to the Haas. It is a very noteworthy point of Ryunosuke's character. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope. Analytoscope to solve the... Oh, it took me a second to read that. Let me try again. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem. That might not help. Imagine you just have a larger one of these to examine the smaller one of these. Ingenious, Sholmes. Truly, you are a great mind. Unlike any other. What we got? Let's look at this stuff. When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearths alight all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really, no use at all. Rather like a great detective in days of no crime and no criminals, Hurley. But consider this. Instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea. Yeah, we have those in the future. They're called air conditioners. An extraordinary hearth from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think? I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history. The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth. Ah, blue flames, yes. Yes, of course. Brilliant! The trouble is, none of the fires I built ever burn cold. How it taunts me. So, as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib. Good conversations. I love this game. Love this game. I love the previous game. I like this one as well. Let's examine the chest. Ah yes, the huge metal chest with the lace cloth laid on it, being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut. I can't wait for the final case of this game where someone's frickin' body is laid in there. Like, come on, you gotta have at least one crime that takes place in Sholmes' place. You know, like maybe there's some blood on one of the teacups or something. Or, I don't know. I'm just thinking up some random crap. There's one thing I'm good at. It's coming up with random stuff in my mind on the fly. That chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases. Yeah, so I've been led to believe. Though personally, I'd never actually seen it inside. We got yawn. And that's the way it will stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. If you go opening it uninvited, you might find yourself being bitten. What do you have, Wagahai stuck in there? What? Is there a beast inside there or something? Yeah, Wagahai. Dude's just chilling. Whenever the cat is bad, Iris puts it in the chest and lets it stay there for a while to think about what it's done. Not what I would do personally, but hey, go off. These are different pieces of evidence from cases you've solved, aren't they, Mr. Sholmes? Not quite, Mr. Naruhodo, not quite. Is all the cash still inside of that bust? These trinkets are a selection from cases I've solved with particular aplomb. They are souvenirs of my success, memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Really? So tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured. Oh, that was the frickin'... Oh, that one. Good question, Mrs. Naruhodo. That is actually the one where I stole a bunch of treasure and hid it inside of that. I know, very shocking. I forget. Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes. Wonderful. Listen, it's fine. The bust of Napoleon serves a purpose. We are just too dim to understand as for what yet. We only got a few more things, I believe. Yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle? Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see. Especially if it's cut with a rounded top. Oh, really? And this garnet was blue, was it? Well, that's the thing. They're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered. Wouldn't that just be called, like, a sapphire or something? Oh. So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case. Proper Herlock Sholmes conundrum, huh? Huh. Tea. I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris. Every single day. All day, every day. Ah, well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice. When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time. Oh yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy, some make you feel like you have diarrhea. You know, the usual. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat. It's the diarrhea kind. It sounds ominous. I mean, I did just mention diarrhea. What do we got here? Ah, medicine. There's so many different bottles up there on that charming little set of white shelves. Oh, do be careful, Bruno. You mustn't try the contents of any of those bottles, even if you're hungry. I wouldn't do something stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know. Yeah, get Gina over here if you need that. Well, I wish I could say the same for Hurley. The other day, he polished off a full bottle of one of my alkaloids. You what? He said he was hungry. I'll be extra careful. Good old Sholmes. Just be careful to make sure that there isn't any poison that there isn't any medicine coated in poison. Specifically of the Cold Killer X variety. I can type with my eyes shut, you know. I can believe it. When a deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun. That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was of the Gyarados, and they had a Gatling gun in their home instead of a cannon. It was kind of weird. It was such a funny one, it woke me, actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake. That's incredible. Yeah, that's just me on a regular day. But then, when it got light, I found out that there wasn't any paper in the machine. Now I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all. I think you might just have fallen asleep on the job. Sounds likely enough. Anything else? Is that it? We finally done here. Certainly looked at a lot of stuff. We got a lot of funny dialogue though, so hey. And I got to do some improv while I was at it. Could never go wrong with that. Anyways, Miss Susato's letter. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post. Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful handwriting. Beautiful writing in general, I mean. Sorry. I also just spit on my desk. That was kind of gross. I wish I could read it. It's okay, just learn Japanese. You're a child genius. You'll probably have it figured out in days. And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well. Oh, sorry. Honestly, the way that I frickin' show off Ryunosuke, I can see him doing a frickin' Sholmes impression. She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. I've covered wars, you know. Apparently Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you wouldn't. Of course you do. We helped the man twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustached twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache. He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley. We also own his cat, so that's kind of something noteworthy. Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Startling news. So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Usato? Do you remember the case of the haunting lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Odd, considering that at the end of the last case, they said something about how Sholmes told it no one to talk about that case for some reason. Anyway, in her letter, Mrs. Sato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago? For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mrs. Sato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appears to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to resend that telegram. Oh, that case, yes? It was very strange, wasn't it? Oh god, this music again. Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said, very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that. Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Mrs. Sato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan. Let's get right into it. It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Yeah. I hear that Port Dover is run by a guy called Ben. I don't know. Ben's Dover was a pretty interesting place to hold the final scene of the game, not gonna lie. Indeed it was. Wow, not gonna lie. Sholmes agrees with me that Ben Dover's port was was a kind of weird place to end it off. And due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No, it just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home. Why would he do that? I don't know, to make her a voyager? I have to admit I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Interesting. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Usato's father is hiding. Hadley, do you know what it's all about? If you don't know, then it's no big deal. We'll find out by the end of this game, probably. When did you get your drip changed? Ah, well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And now he's gonna run off to dodge the question. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later. I bid you adieu. And he's gone, just like that. He scuttled off rather quickly there. Now I'm just imagining him, like, freaking walking like a crab. Just with his hands in the air, just scuttling across the ground. Where's my cursor? Oh, there it is. Not that you guys can see it. My cursor is not for you to see. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found them at last! Iris, are they? The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo? Man, I was not expecting us to go this direction in this game. Or to have a case that took place during the events of the first game, but then we don't actually get to see until the second. That's interesting. Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. What? Why is it playing the... Oh gosh, why is it playing this music? Yo, this is the music that played at the freaking final... At the final, cross-examination of the first game. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit. Alright. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. What? What? What does that mean? Oh no. Wait. Okay, this case that we're about to check. This case happened before case 5 of last game, right? So, is there... Oh god, is there another case that we're gonna have to... Oh god, the timeline of events is gonna be so weird if that's the case. What if case 3 takes place, like, after case 5 of last game, but before right now in this case? In the present day, I mean. Ah, god, this is so confusing to even talk about. Anyways. Okay. But anyways, gotta go back to the past. Samurai Jack. Oriro no Mae Jack. It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. Ah, there she is. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. Huh. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attack her, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. Good old Soseki. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. I mean, eventually we believed in his innocence. Ryunosuke was kind of a little bitch at first, though, but he did it. I was proud of him. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. Oh my god. Did he get accused of... We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. No way. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. Bart's? So, eat my shorts! So Susato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. That was a lot of S sounds. A lot of S sounds in that sentence, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Rats. Rats. We're the rats. We pray at night. We stalk at night. We're the rats. Even though it's a singular rat. But still. 24th of February, 5:30 a.m. San Bartholomew Hospital, Recovery Ward. Here you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh! You're late. What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. And it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Man, it's freaking bright out at 5 a.m. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. Oh, wow. Wow, that's real interesting. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. God damn. It's gonna be interesting seeing what do you call it? A freaking victim from a previous case being an actual character in a future one. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back. Her name is... Ah, yes, here we are. Miss Green. Alright. Well, I could examine her right off the bat, but let's see if we can examine anything else first. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. Huh. Looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. A husband, maybe? Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? Sounds plausible. My, Mr. Naruhodo, I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. I think I made a mistake and accidentally used Sasato's voice for Ryunosuke line back there. Whoopsies. This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? It's got fat curls on it. I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe. Used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Really? It's not exactly what you call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it? No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before. Yeah. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. What's up here? There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look, it's almost like it's a medicine cabinet. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this. Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two. Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors. I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock. Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mrs. Sato. Ah, this looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital. The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so maybe they're running around the hospital. He or she is probably running around the hospital then. Yep. Oh dear, how worrying. What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Rat. Eee! A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo. An enormous mouse. Vermin in a hospital. That doesn't seem the best. But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. Okay, I guess there's just a freaking rat chilling here that we're not going to address. Cool. I mean, we did address it, but it's just chilling here. This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. Wow. What is this place, a zoo? You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park. For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this. I never get tired of this specific Susato pose. She looks so disappointed. Oh, man. Oh, it's in... Oh, wait, no, there's another cabinet here. There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to open them like that? If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep. That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one. Oh, I've no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you were still half asleep as well. There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato. Can we examine this? That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though. I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her. Alright then, let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt, and... No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize the young maiden's personal belongings. But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. No food for you, sir. Alright, let's finally talk to the person, shall we? Good morning. Ohio, Sekai, good morning, world. Metal Gear alert sound. Doon, doon, doon. Do, 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 do. Hello, I'm, Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Oh god, what type of voice do I give this lady? Oh no, was it your knife that... Are you the man who... No, I'm a lawyer. Hajimemashite. And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Hajimemashite. Was it your knife then? Are you the one? She seems to be very on edge, so I'll try to give her a bit of a spooked voice. No, I assure you. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's related, actually. Funny how the person that Soseki stabbed seems to be just almost as twitchy as him himself. Well, accused of stabbing. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Yeah. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. About the incident and about yourself. Well, we'll learn about those things next time on Great Ace Attorney 2. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ja, mata ne.